Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I picked up this tank here, 300 gallons of sheer massiveness. Nah, I picked this tank up today, and I was gonna go ahead, clean it out, get it set up, whatever the case might be. But I'm gonna go ahead, let you guys come along with me on this journey with the 300 gallon. For those of you who don't know, all that purple stuff is coralline algae. This was a saltwater tank, but we will be doing a freshwater in this tank, not saltwater. I've already got a big saltwater tank. I don't want to go any bigger than what I've already gone. So with that being said, man, stick around so you guys can enjoy this journey with me and see exactly how this thing comes to life. I'm going to go ahead, start cleaning this thing out. I'm not going to record everything. I'm just going to go ahead and do what I got to do off camera, and then I'll come back. I'll give you guys a couple shots of it, let you guys see what's going on with it. And yeah, so stay tuned. Alright guys, so I went ahead, I got it cleaned out, went ahead, scraped the back glass off. A lot of calcium buildup just from the saltwater tank. But we'll go ahead and once I fill it up, I'll scrape all that stuff off. I did not go down. There's a line of coralline algae all the way across. I didn't scrape that because I didn't want to mess up the silicone. I wasn't too sure how high up the silicone was, but now I'm looking at it from the front. I can pretty much scrape a lot of that off, but I probably won't just because I don't want to mess up the silicone. And I also didn't scrape the silicone off. I also didn't scrape off the coralline algae over here or here just because you won't be able to see that. Once we get the sand and stuff in here, all that will vanish. So, in the overflow boxes, there was no way that I could scrape the coralline algae off the overflow boxes without cutting them out and then pretty much having to revamp the whole tank. So over time that coralline algae will die down, so I'm not going to really worry about that too much. I'm not going to worry about it at all because I already know that the coralline algae will die off, and then later on we'll go ahead and scrape that. Same with the calcium. Once we fill it up with water, all that calcium build up on that back wall that you guys see, all those white spots or whatever you want to call it, I'll go ahead and get a razor once it's full of water and we get everything up and running, and then I will scrape that stuff off of there. So it's not a big deal right now. The main thing is just getting the tank up and running. So also this corner here, this corner right here, and this corner down here, I'm going to go ahead and run a bead of silicone over those corners. I'm not going to scrape them. A lot of the silicone has already fallen off of there because this tank, it's not, I mean, it's not 20 years old or anything, but it's an older tank, and it had salt water in it. Yeah, so the coralline algae, it just pretty much eats up the silicone wherever the coralline algae is at. So I'm not going to worry about it. Like I said, I'm not going to scrape or anything. I'm going to just go ahead, run a bead of silicone on this corner, run one down there, on that corner, down there at that end, and we should be good. And then also the overflow box, it needs a little bead on it because it's came loose. So I'll just put a little dab here and there, glue that back down. We should be good. So we got our filter today too. This big sump right here. This thing is about the size of a 40 gallon breeder. So we'll have to put the filtration on there and all that. I'm going to show you guys all that stuff. It's made for an external pump, but I'm going to put on a internal pump, and I'm going to go ahead and cap these two ends off. So I got to get those bulkheads out of there and cap those two ends off, and then we should be good to go. These are the overflows. They're soaking in vinegar and water. This is just the front of it, and then yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and scrub those down tonight, and then I got the returns. They're in there too. You probably can't see it because it's so dark, but I got the returns in there too. I'm gonna go ahead and scrub those off with a toothbrush, and then I'm gonna flip these upside down and let that side soak in the vinegar and water, and then they should be back pretty much good to go. So here's a little shot of the salt water. I know I haven't showed that much on the channel, but just give you guys a little shot of that. Threw a couple other corals and stuff in there, but we'll talk about that stuff in a later video. I'm not gonna go through all that, but I'll give you guys a little shot of the fish. There go the stingrays, and there go the silver dollars. They always running around, man. They just disturbing the peace. Africans, got all the baby Africans over there. They ready to eat. Also, guys, the discus, I put the discus in this tank right here by itself. It's a bad glare on there. But I put the discus in here. I turned the temperature up to, it's at 88 right now, so he should be, hopefully we'll be able to get him back. His stomach has went down. It's not bloated like it was, so maybe whatever he had going on is curing. Like I said, I've tried every method with this guy, so hopefully I can get him to eat tomorrow when I do a feeding. All right, guys, so like I was saying, it's gonna take a lot to get this tank back to its full potential and get it up and running, and this is gonna be a process. So this tank was my buddy Joe. This was his old tank. He owned a store here locally, Coral Haven. If anybody watching knows about Coral Haven, they've seen this tank. He had Puff Daddy in here, which was a giant puffer. It was probably about 2 feet, and he pretty much Puff Daddy is the reason that the teeth on the overflow are gone. Puff Daddy ate them. He ate all the power heads. He ate all the electrical that was in this tank, and puffers can be pretty destructive. So yeah, just man, you guys stay tuned, because I'm not in a hurry, but I kind of want to get this thing set up, get it running, let you guys see exactly how beautiful this thing is going to be. I'm just glad I was able to show you guys the before, and then I'll be able to show you guys the after. So the after should be impeccable. It should be. So like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and do some stuff off camera, and I'm gonna try to get the ball rolling, try to get these videos out to you guys as quick as I can, try to get this build done. Not as quick as I can, but for the amount of time that I have. It took me about 2 hours. 2 hours just to scrape the coralline algae off the back, and I ran through, I don't know, probably about a 10-pack of razors just to get all that coralline off there. It was like stuck. It was stuck, and that's why there's so much calcium buildup on there, because of the coralline algae. But that's for another video. We'll talk more about that in a later video. But hey, until next time, remember, always feed the fish. Holla.